because that's what makes Pakistan resilient. That's what makes Pakistanis resilient and great people. We've gone through a lot of hardship. There's a bit of hardship right now, but we'll go through this. This smoke screen would go away, and we'd begin to see the future that we've just laid out in a matter of hopefully a year or two. Now, do I further bore you with the energy, or is this good enough? I think this man is against you. I know that you would have been very happy and you would have clapped louder if I had walked. But this man has challenged me and said he wants to know about energy. So I'd bore you a little bit more. Look, we are a large country. We're about 240 million people. And we are growing at about 1.8%. We're also poised to grow between 3 and 4% GDP sustainably. That's the target. That's the sustainable growth target that we have. If we just look at our population growth, because every person born is going to require energy, our energy needs are going to grow from 85 million tons of oil equivalent to 117, 120 million tons of oil equivalent. That's significant increase from 85 to 120. And if we are able to, as we are committed to, grow as much as we are saying, modest 3 to 4%, then these energy needs are going to move from 85 million tons of oil equivalent to roughly 170 million tons of oil equivalent, which means our requirements, our needs are going to double. That's a challenge, because we need to have energy access. That's the first challenge. But that's not the only challenge that we have. We also have a challenge of affordability. Even if we are able to have energy, how good is that energy if the people of Pakistan cannot afford it? And right now, if you look at the affordability matrix, it's creating a lot of hardship. And it's because of this hardship that we are coming up with all of these plans, the federal government plan to give 50 billion for the first 200 units of electricity, and the provincial government to give another 14 rupees, support per unit, up to 500 units. So that clearly tells us that not only do we need energy, but we also need affordable energy. So that's basically the second important challenge. And the third challenge is that while our carbon footprint is minuscule, if you look at the heat map, you won't even find Pakistan anywhere in terms of its carbon footprint. I think the total carbon dioxide footprint is less than 200 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year. That's negligible, not even a dot. But we're still the 5th or 6th most vulnerable country in the world. We're vulnerable because we're lying like a valley at the footsteps of the Himalayas. And if the climate changes, we get washed away. And you're seeing a lot of flooding, you're seeing a lot of climate change, and you're seeing a lot of detrimental impact of this climate change. So our third objective is to make sure that whatever we do it in a sustainable manner. So we have 3 objectives: access, affordability, and sustainability, in exactly the same descending order. Why do I say descending order? Because countries that don't have issues of affordability and countries that don't have issues of access only have issues of sustainability. So the language that they speak is very different from the language that we speak. For them, the romantic idea is sustainable energy. For us, we have to take care of our people, supply energy, make it affordable, and make it sustainable in the same descending order. So those are our objectives for our energy strategy. We've built this energy strategy based upon 5 pillars. Number 1, indigenization. Number 2, optimization. Number 3, electrification. Number 4, liberalization. And number 5, innovation. So 5 pillars. 5 pillars which are going to give us access, affordability, and sustainability. What do these pillars mean? In terms of indigenization, which is the first pillar, first thing that we are doing is enhancing domestic production. And as you know, we have concessions that we've put out for domestic, for our on-land assets that we put out for bidding. And we are in the process right now of putting out offshore assets. We would like to produce energy in-house as much as possible. We are also have 2 policies right now, one for greenfield refineries and the other for brownfield refineries. We're improving our existing refineries in making them compliant with global standards, Euro 5 standards. We are also in the process of negotiating with global investors for a large 350 million barrel oil refinery. Why are we doing this? Because we want to indigenize. We want to produce crude as much as possible. We want to produce gas as much as possible. And we also want to refine it in-house so that we don't have to pay the premium for the refined petroleum products. And this way we'll indigenize our energy. But how are we going to indigenize our energy in the long run? When you walk out on the street, what do you find? Heat. Where does it come from? Sun. So what do we have? Sun. Why would we not produce energy from sun? That's a question that baffles each one of us. So we have sun with such high radiation that the biggest chunk of indigenization over the next 10 years is going to come from solar energy. And many countries don't have this facility. But in our case, in the case of Pakistan, sun and wind are counter-cyclical. Our sun shines during the day and we have a gusty wind through the corridors, particularly in Sindh, during the night. So if we come up with a hybrid solution of wind and sun, all of a sudden our plant factor or our availability goes up exponentially. So our third anchor for indigenization is basically to pull all guns blazing, move all guns blazing towards solar and renewable energy. So these 3 big ticket items, indigenization through domestic production, through domestic refinery, and solar, a hybrid, a combination of solar and wind energy, should give you confidence that we're going to indigenize a whole lot of our energy requirements. The second pillar that we have is optimization. What does optimization mean? Basically, we have a lot of energy loss. We have a lot of energy loss at our distribution companies. We also have an equal amount of energy loss in the way of UFG, which is unaccounted for gas, in the way of losses with our SUI companies. So we right now have a strategy through which we are going to contain these losses and optimize the system. We're in the process of privatizing our distribution companies, DISCOs, you guys know about it. And simultaneously we are preparing and corporatizing our distribution companies, gas distribution companies. The equivalent of a transformer in gas sector is TBS, town-based metering system. So right now we are putting meters at every TBS, which means we are putting a meter at anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 households. There's the equivalent of a transformer from where all of the gas goes. We basically put meters there. We're breaking down the profit and loss statement at the TBS level. And an officer is going to be appointed who's going to give us the profit and loss statement for 3,000 households. He is or she is going to be responsible for fixing the lines, for fixing the theft, for enhancing the collections, and if they're not able to do that, they'll be removed. Consequently, we are very hopeful. We're already on a declining trend in terms of our losses, but we are very hopeful that moving forward in less than a year would show remarkable improvement in these losses. So if we improve on the losses of our distribution companies, we improve on the losses of our gas companies, we're going to optimize this.
वफाकी वजीर पेट्रोलियम डॉक्टर मصدق मलिक इस्लामाबाद में तकरीब से खिताब कर रहे थे। उन्होंने कहा कि